Welcome to the Tell Our Stories podcast. I'm Steph Bender.
And I'm Perry Chris. On today's episode, we're speaking with Edie, Toya, and Bill from Perfect Pair.
Perfect Pair is a nonprofit organization that strives to help seniors who are experiencing loneliness and isolation by pairing them with a local college student.
Today, the organization has chapters in almost 20 different colleges and universities all across the country.
Toya, a student at the University of Central Florida, and Bill, a local resident, have been paired for almost 6 months.
As members of Perfect Pair, they've established a great friendship and spend time together doing anything from card games, outdoor activities, to simply just spending time telling each other stories.
With over 70 years between their respective ages, you wouldn't think there would be much to talk about.
But they have established a connection that, in their words, feels like family.
So step aside, peanut butter and jelly,
Hit the road, milk and cookies.
and listen in to what this perfect pair has to say.
Well, thanks so much for taking the time. I'm so glad we got to set this up.
Of course. Yeah. Thank you guys for having us. I'm super excited to share a little bit more about who we are, what we do. My name's Edie. I'm the director of chapters currently on the national board for Perfect Pair. So essentially, I work with a team of 4 other chapter coaches, is what we call it. And we meet with our chapters bi-weekly to make sure their operations are running smoothly, do any national initiatives, but also work to problem solve because there are a lot of different things that can come up in that population and working
Sure.
with senior homes and resident communities and different things like that as well.
Absolutely.
We were wondering, how did this even come about? How did you want to start Perfect Pair?
Yeah, so my sister started Perfect Pair in 2020. Me and her both kind of grew up in older adult homes and those types of communities because my mom works for a senior living company. So we're very connected with that community of people and of older adults. And especially during the pandemic in 2020, there was a lot of loneliness and isolation that they were experiencing. So it was all of her idea, sort of this idea of intergenerational connections to combat some of those difficulties and issues in that population during that time, especially.
That's fantastic. If I counted correctly, I think you guys are in 18 different colleges right now.
We are currently in about 20, and then we
Oh, great.
just added on another 4. So
Oh,
we're at
fantastic.
24
Congratulations.
and growing. Thank you so much. Yeah, we're definitely still new and growing, but it's very exciting.
That's fantastic. So it started, it's obviously still pretty young. It's about 4 years old by my math. How long did it take for it to start spreading as quickly as it is right now?
Yeah, I would say about 2022 is when we really started a lot of pushes for initiatives in other spaces, like in other states and across the country. We grew to 3 chapters in the first year, I believe. So it was us, MSU, and Drexel, I think was our 3rd one.
Okay.
And then I was the director of recruitment in 2022, and we grew 9 chapters that year. And then mathematically, we're just ever growing. So yeah.
That's awesome.
That's really incredible.
Thank you.
So when it comes about the program, how do you get started? How do you join the program?
Yeah, that's a really great question. On our website, there's a lot of more specific information and links. But essentially, interested student or somewhere that we recruited at through Facebook or through advisory boards or different things like that, they fill out a Google form, and it's like why you want to start the chapter, why you're interested in this. Or you can have sort of a more informational casual meeting that's about 15 minutes with our current director of recruitment or any of those recruitment coordinators, and we tell you a little bit about the program. And then it's a pretty intensive onboarding process. There's a lot of nuances to becoming a registered student organization and becoming involved with older adults in your community. So we meet with our new chapters, is what we call them, every single week until there is an active volunteer meeting with an older adult. And then they move on to our active chapter status, and we meet with them bi-weekly to, have more further support.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
How does the pairing process work in terms of any matchup with, is it common interests? Is it area? What's the process like that?
Yeah, we it really just depends. It's super individualized, which is something that I think is really amazing and very special about our program. So we essentially match based on common interest, hobbies, where they both maybe went to high school, what sports they played, what languages they speak. It
Hmm.
really just depends. So the volunteer will fill out what we call a match application, as well as the resident will fill out that same match application with some nuanced different information. And then we have either a match committee or what we call like a vice president of matching, and they look at those two applications and find those commonalities. And so it's really based on personal interests, maybe personalities, depending on what we think would make a good match. And then also, we have a lot of support systems in place to create and build on that match. So at their first meeting, we give them about a list of 50 questions to go through just to get to know you, to make it a little bit less awkward when you're meeting someone for the first time. And then we offer a lot of programming as well for those two individuals to, depending on their interests, meet. A lot of our pairs just like to meet and talk
Sure.
and have a great time. And I'm sure Toya and Bill can speak a little bit more to what the actual pair meetings look like for them.
Yeah, absolutely. As an overarching organization, what have been some of the highlights or successes you've had so far?
Yeah, I really just think it's the like beautiful, heartwarming
Hmm.
connections that we get to see every day and that we get to build. And also, like our community buildings coming to us and being like, hey, like you are really touching the lives, or a family member, posting on Instagram being like, hey, like this volunteer has really improved, my dad or mom's life,
Absolutely.
and getting to
Hmm.
see those connections with completely different age groups of people, but really coming together with those commonalities and creating relationships and families together has been really beautiful.
Hmm.
That's really incredible. A good mission, honestly.
Thank
And
you.
any challenges with onboarding this program have you faced?
Yeah, definitely. I think we've really had to advocate for older adults.
Mhm.
I think there have been some college campuses that have said no to an RSO, a registered student organization status,
Mm.
just because there has been one or two other similar groups of students working with the older adult population, possibly with specifically Alzheimer's and dementia,
Mhm.
and we have to come in and say, hey, like this older adult population needs more support as well, and this community is asking for it. These students want to be involved, they want to outreach. So different things like that. And then also just the nuances of a lot of community homes are understaffed, and it's really
Mhm.
hard. We try to go in and we say, hey, like we will do absolutely everything. Like you don't need to pay for anything, you don't need to set anything up. We just need a little bit of a connection and want to come into this community to see what you guys want from us that we can support as well as building these connections.
I love the advocacy. It's
Yeah,
really amazing efforts.
that's
Thank you.
terrific. If any of our listeners are looking to sort of start this program in their own area, what are some pointers or advice you would have in terms of getting involved with Perfect Pair?
Yeah, I would definitely tell them to go to perfectpair.org. It's where they'll find more specific information and links, like I said. But also, just reaching out to your community, seeing if there's a like-minded couple of students that you want to start it with, I think would be sort of the best way to go about it. It's quite an undertaking. It's starting a new organization. It's advocating for it in your community and in your university. And as a national team, we offer a lot of support, a lot of templates, a lot of just upkeep for your chapter as well.
Sure,
But really just wanting to put in the work and wanting to work with this population and getting to see incredible connections that are made as well is truly life changing.
that's terrific.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Well, I think
Thank
that
you.
covers the questions we had for you, Edie, and I'd love to be able to speak to Toya and Bill. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Perfect. Thank you guys for having us.
Of course. Hi, Toya. Hi, Bill.
Hi, say hi. 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 Can you guys hear us just fine? I hope it's okay.
Yes,
And I
perfectly.
apologize for the AC. It's like really hot. So
No,
You
it's
can't,
not. No, the audio quality sounds great.
yeah, sounds awesome.
hear the AC. Yeah. So hi, I'm Toya, and this is Billy.
Hi,
Bill.
Billy.
I'm 19. He is 91. 91.
All right.
Yeah, big old. Good. I I don't really know where to start. So I'm from UCF. I'm a part of the UCF chapter of Perfect Pair.
Hmm.
I currently am the events coordinator for them as well. But not only that, but major I've always kind of been interested in the senior living like
Hmm.
environment aspect.
Sure.
Uh, I love my grandma. Like my grandma is my rock. Like I love that woman, and that kind
Absolutely.
of just got me interested in
Mhm.
seniors and just wanting to advocate for them because I know that like a lot of older people don't get that support that they really need.
Mhm.
Hmm.
So yeah, and then I started wanting to be a part of Perfect Pair. I remember that was like one of the first things that that I searched up was senior volunteering, and then it
Hmm.
was and it really just flowed well. And then I got paired with Bill this February of this year. And overall, within the past 5 months, we've just been building our relationship and really just having a really fun time. Like, I think that's the best way I can describe it. What do you think?
That's terrific.
What do you think?
Sounds good.
Sounds good. No, you have. What's
I
your
know.
what's your perspective on Perfect Pair?
Well, two young ladies came up, and I was surprised. But then when they said communication is so important, especially can't get any further than 19 and 91.
Hmm.
To translate Bill talk, because I know it's a little difficult. What he's saying is he's mentioning the event that Perfect Pair, the UCF Perfect Pair
Yeah.
had,
Sure.
the two girls, the president, and I believe the volunteering. Um, yes, volunteering. They came up to him and they were wondering if he was interested in Perfect Pair, and then that's when he signs like the papers and stuff like that. And yeah, and then he's saying that he didn't really understand what could have been in common between like 19 and a 9-1 year old.
Absolutely.
But yeah. What do you think about our friendship?
Well, I look forward to your visits, that's for sure. And we have conversations that makes me feel good, and hopefully you feel good
I
too.
know that. A big part of Perfect Pair for me and just being a part of this community and like being part of this like club and chapter is the fact that I've gained so much from Perfect Pair. Like
Mm.
Perfect Pair allowed me to get my first job. Or not my first job, but like my first job in senior living, which is what I
Yeah.
want to do full time. I want to go into senior living. Um, the activities director of this facility reached out to me. She said, "Hey, I see the way you treat Bill. I want you on my team." I accepted, and now I'm doing an internship at a different senior living facility. Um, Overall, our friendship has like really just given me a perspective on a lot of things. Because
Sure.
if we're young, like we have a bunch of problems. We're college, whatever, relationships, friends, drama, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And oftentimes I feel like it's really easy to like think of it as that's the problem. Like all of
Sure.
it, that's the problem. But listening to Bill and his stories about like he even like he worked in the White House under
Oh,
Eisenhower.
wow.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
You want to tell a little bit about that real quick?
Yeah, well, I pushed in some plugs. I was a plug pusher. And right next door to the president,
How
uh,
about that?
get it on. Uh, we had a class on communication, and there were six of us. But I came through and said,
There
only
you
one
go.
could do it.
Those stories are so incredible, and you can't put, and that's priceless.
Yeah, no,
Mhm.
100%. I definitely agree. Every single time I leave one of our meetings, I not only like leave with like a new perspective, but I'm also like kind of like taken aback. I'm like, wow, like
Mhm.
my problems are not big problems. To me, that's a thing because like I overthink a lot. So
Yeah.
Sure.
what I get out of this like friendship that we have is like more than I can have, like more than I could ever ask for.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Really. What do you think?
Well, it's very important to me. I mean, the age split is one thing, but being able to communicate with a teenager
Hmm.
Mhm.
likewise is something I'm proud of.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like it's a really good way to put into perspective me and Billy's friendship. We every single meeting, so luckily since I work at this facility, I get to see him roughly like 4 times a day or 4 times a week.
Oh,
That's
terrific.
awesome.
Yeah. So I get to see him often, but Perfect Pair does like 1 hour meetings every week. That's like the requirement.
Sure.
But I go over that requirement because I really like enjoy his company. Like sometimes like apart from our normal meetings, I will come and study with him and like I'll just play music.
I know.
He knows, yeah, you see, he
Yeah.
knows. Well, yeah, so I'll come and just like study or we'll go outside together.
Sure.
It's really simple. Like I love the concept of Perfect Pair because it's so like in a way, you know what's funny? I always thought I was like, why didn't I think of this? Like Perfect Pair, I was always like, why didn't I think of this? Because it's so like it's such like a simple like idea and it's not to
Mm.
diminish its quality because it's a great like it's
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
a project, an organization. It's just like it's so simple and it fulfills so much of your life that I'm like, wow, like you know, it really does
Sure.
fulfill for me. Like sometimes seeing Bill is like the highlight of my week.
And
That's
it's the
awesome.
highlight of his, I'm sure.
Yeah.
It has been several times, and for him, he looks forward to me all the time because
You keep me so young.
Oh.
Bill, what's something that you would say you've learned from this partnership?
I've learned that I can talk with some degree of sense to a teenager, and, and that I can't be that far off at 91 as far as communication.
Sure.
What's one thing that you two have been able to connect over? What's something that Bill has taught you that, of interest maybe?
Yeah, we never played bridge together.
Ooh, bridge.
Ooh.
I don't know how to play bridge. You know, I don't know how to play bridge.
I taught it.
It's a great game.
I've never played it. One thing that I feel like me and Bill connected over was our like mutual love for jazz
Hmm.
and
Oh.
classical music. So you used to play what instrument did you used to play?
Clarinet,
Clarinet, like Squidward, right?
saxophone.
So it was definitely over jazz and just like wanting to be around music.
Mhm.
I never played an instrument before, but like I've always loved music.
Mm-hmm.
And that was one of the big things. And I also kind of feel like one of the things that connected us as well was our like mutual wanting to know more about each other.
Sure.
If that makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
totally.
Like every meeting we were kind of like inching towards like trying to get to know each other a little bit more. I remember one of the big things that we were kind of like on the fence about talking was about politics.
Yeah.
You know, 91-year-old man, 19-year-old girl, you're kind of like, okay, how's the politics looking?
Sure.
But thank gosh, we're good politically.
That's good. That's good.
I think that's an incredible conversation to have too. I mean, you
It
both have
really
seen it in
was.
very different environments. So,
It
Mhm.
really was. He brought up like the military and
Mhm.
him being in the military, him being under Eisenhower. He brought up Bernie Sanders. Like it was a lot.
That's great.
yeah.
In the White House.
In the White House.
In the White House, lest we forget.
I've never been to the White House.
We go together.
Aw.
Mm. If you were speaking to somebody who was on the fence about this program in both of your respective generations, what's something you'd say to tell them about how fantastic this has been for both of you?
You know what's funny? I actually had this conversation with a girl the other day.
Hmm.
She volunteers here at the facility, and I mentioned she's also a part of VCF, and I was like, hey, like you should join the club. Like you already volunteer here, you might as well try
Sure.
to make a one-on-one connection. And I told her, I was like, it's so fulfilling. I was like, I'm a big advocate of like trying something before you say no, or
Mhm.
like asking before you say no. So I literally told her, I was like, you should try it. If you don't like it, you know, maybe cool, it's not for you. But if you like it, like you will love it, you know. To me, it's not really a big commitment. It not only increases your like it increases your like perception and like perspective on a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The impact is incredible.
Yeah.
He talks about the Great Depression and like all that stuff and World War One and Two and the Cold War and all that stuff. But, like I only have learned about this in like history books.
Yeah.
I was there.
Yeah.
In-person history book lesson.
Yeah. Bill, what about you? What would you say to somebody, a resident that lives there with you who is thinking about joining?
What would I say? Well, people with a spread of 70 years can get together and be meaningful to each other.
Meaningful is a good word.
Yeah.
I'd say.
Very
Make your
much
days
so.
more meaningful.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for taking the time today. It's been awesome to learn more about this program.
I think you represent it very well.
Yeah.
Sounds beyond friends. You guys have become family.
Yeah, definitely feels like that.
Yeah. That's incredible.
That's awesome.
You sound like the perfect pair.
There you go.
Really.
We want to extend another big thank you to Edie, Toya, and Bill from Perfect Pair for joining us today and sharing their story.
If you want to learn more about Perfect Pair, head to perfectpair.org or find them on social media at perfectpair.org.
You can find us at Tell Our Stories on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, or TOS Senior Care on X and LinkedIn.
If you have a story you want to share, send us an email at info@tellourstories.com.
Thank you so much for tuning in.